Good day, I'm Renalias and we are the Group 8 and today we're about to discuss the topic of the Battle of San Juan del Monte and the Battle of Tirad.
Summary: On August 30, 1896, the Battle of San Juan del Monte took place. It is regarded as the first fight of the Philippine Revolution, which aimed to free the Philippines from Spanish rule. On the night of August 29, 1896, the Katipunan's first war cry coincided with the pealing of the church bell at 9 o'clock.
To more about the topic of the Battle of San Juan del Monte, at the 5 p.m. on 29th day, they attacked the civil guard with 1,000 men, including the local police force. By 7 p.m., they surrendered quickly. Katipunero Benaventura Domingo, the Tala chapter chairman, however, enabled the parish priest to flee. General Ramon Bernardo's troops then occupied the Pandacan town hall and were transferred to Santa Mesa by 11 p.m. In the Cavite, province of Noveleta and San Francisco de Malabon, troops under the command of Santiago V. Alvarez, Artemio Ricarte, and Mariano Tras were sent. Bonifacio traveled to San Juan del Monte with Hinario de los Reyes and Vicente Libia.
The battle. Andres Bonifacio learned about the Spanish government's military intentions when Katipunan discovered on August 19, 1896. When Bonifacio heard infantrymen and Spanish Guardian Civil coming to attack towns surrounding the Pasong Tamo bridge on August 25, he placed some of his men around it. Bonifacio led a party of Katipuneros to El Polvorin, a Spanish powder magazine in San Juan del Monte. On the evening of August 29, the Katipuneros were mostly equipped with bolo knives, a few miscellaneous firearms, bamboo spears, and anting-antings, while the Spanish infantry and Antar regiment guarded Polvorin with German Mauser rifles. Bonifacio was joined by 300 soldiers from Santolan after two victorious clashes with the municipal guards. Valentin Cruz was the chapter chairman, with a tiny second party of Katipuneros, led by Sancho Valenzuela, and arriving in Santa Mesa. Arrived at Polvorin around midnight. There were 100 Katipunan members in this group. Two of them were women, Luisa Lucas and Segunda Fuentes Santiago. According to some sources, Bonifacio and his men began their surprise attack the next day, August 30, at approximately 4 a.m. and captured the Polvorin. Some hours later, after losing their commander and another soldier, the Spanish forces are said to have withdrawn to the adjacent building of El Deposito, the Manila Water Works Deposit Office. Recent study, the Katipunan researcher Jim Richardson, based on the memoirs and records, shows that Katipuneros never seized the Polvorin and never killed the Spanish commander. Captain of Artillery Camilo Rambaud, who continued to serve Spanish colonial army long after the opening fight. The Battle of San Juan del Monte fought between Bonifacio's Katipuneros and reinforcement from the 73rd Holo Regiment, composed of Filipino soldiers under Spanish officers. The 73rd Regiment, like most of the native conscripts in the Spanish Army in the Philippines, were armed with the Remington rolling block rifle. Contrary to popular myth, Sancho Valencia was more an unfortunate bystander who was implicated in the revolution rather than a heroically tragic leader. He was implicated because the revolutionaries ate at his roof factory in Santa Mesa.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sunshine Nagrampa. Reaction of the Battle of San Juan del Monte. The Battle of the San Juan del Monte took place on August 30, 1896. Is considered as a first battle of the Philippines Revolutions with South Philippines. After the unsuccessful attack of Polvorin, armed resistance spread toward the central Luzon and provinces along southern Tagalog. At 8 p.m. on August 30, Governor General Ramon Blanco Iranas issued an executive order placing the 8 provinces of Manila, Pampanga, Laguna, Cavite, Batangas, Bulacan, Nueva Ecija, and Tarlac under martial law as a lesson to revolutionaries and captiponeros captured on Polvorin were summarily tried and executed. One of them was Sancho Valenzuela, who was dragged off and chained together with his men. Modesto Rivera, Ignacio Silvestre, and Ramon Peralta toward the tribunal.
Legacy. The 8-ray sun is known on the current design of the Philippines flag, which was adopted by some of the provinces that Blanco imposed martial law on August 30, 1896. The sun's 8 beams signified the 8 provinces that rose up against Spain: Manila, Cavite, Bulacan, Pampanga, Nueva Ecija, Balatan, Laguna, and Batangas. But historian Ambit Ocampo included Tarlac instead of Bataan. Former Philippines President Corazon C. Aquino signed Executive Order 292 on July 25, 1987, declaring the last Sunday in August each year is a national holiday. The Cry of Pugadlawin, which signated the commitments of the Philippines Revolution, is commemorated here. The Pinaglabanan Shrine, located on Pinaglabanan Street in San Juan, was dedicated in 1974. The Tagalog term of Pinaglabanan means fought over. The current San Juan Elementary School is built on the ruins of the previous El Pulbum. The San Juan City government established a museum for the Katipunan beside the monument in 2000.
Noong ika-30 ng Agosto taong 1896, naganap ang unang pakikipaglaban ng mga Katipunero kontra sa mga Espanyol. Ito ang tinatawag na Battle of Pinaglabanan o Battle of San Juan del Monte. Kasabay ng pagputok ng Bukang Liwayway ay pinangunahan ni Andres Bonifacio ang revolusyon. Nasa 800 mga Katipunero na may dalang mga bolo, itak at sibat ang nakipaglaban sa mga sundalong Kastila na armado ng mga baril at kanyon. Una nilang sinalakay ang El Polvorin na tipunan ng mga pulbura sa San Juan del Monte. Matagumpay nilang nakupkup ang lugar, umatras ang mga Espanyol upang magtipon-tipon sa El Deposito. Matapos ito, naengkwentro naman ng mga katipunero ang 73rd Regiment na binubuo ng mga sundalong Pilipino na nasa ilalim ng direksyon ng mga Espanyol. Napatay nila ang 150 mga katipunero at nahuli naman ang mga nasa 200 pa, dahilan kung bakit napilitang umatras ang puwersa ni Bonifacio. Dahil sa patuloy na pag-usbong ng himagsikan sa iba't ibang probinsya, ay isinailalim ni Gobernador General Ramon Blanco y Arenas sa martial law ang mga probinsya ng Maynila, Rizal, Laguna, Cavite, Batangas, Bulacan, Nueva Ecija at Tarlac. Nagpatuloy ang sinimulang revolusyon ng mga katipunero hanggang 1898 kung kailan nilagdaan naman ang Treaty of Paris sa pagitan ng Espanya at Amerika. Ito ay isang kasunduan na naglipat ng pananakop sa Pilipinas mula sa kamay ng mga Espanyol patungo sa pamumuno ng mga Amerikano.
The Battle of Tirad Pass, or in Tagalog, Labanan sa Pasong Tirad, also known as the Philippine Thermopylae, was fought on December 2, 1899 on northern Luzon on the Philippines, in which a 60-man Filipino rearguard commanded by Brigadier General Gregorio del Pilar. The Battle of Tirad Pass took place on December 2, 1899 between American and Filipino soldiers. Instead of the huge casualties inflicted on Persians by King Leonidas, just 2 American troops died on the fight. Rather than battling to the death like at the Thermopylae, just 8 of the 60 Filipino defenders survived. On December 2, 1899, American and Filipino forces clashed in the Battle of the Red Pass. Instead of the massive losses King Leonidas inflicted upon the Persians, only 2 American soldiers expired in the battle. Rather than fighting to the last man as the Thermopylae, 8 of the 60 Filipino defenders survived the battle. Tirad Pass is an important passage in going to the Cordillera in northern Luzon, where a battle was fought when General Del Pilar held his ground in defending the main force of General Emilio Aguinaldo in his escape to Isabela from the ensuing American forces.
Background. On November 13, 1899, Aguinaldo began his retreat from Bayabang over the hilly terrain after disbanding the regular Filipino army into guerrilla formations. Aguinaldo's party arrived at the pass on November 23, creating a strategic bottleneck. It was to be guarded by a rear force headed by General Gregorio del Pilar, who saw the favorable topography of Tirad Pass, Pasong Tirad as it was locally known, and hunkered down to hold it as Aguinaldo fled over the mountains. By the way, I'm Jessica G. Nagales.
The battle. The Americans proceeded up the route on December 2 but were met by a continuous stream of fire, allowing them to reach just around 300 feet. The Americans abandoned their plan for a direct attack in favor of taking shelter along the zigzag route. Sharpshooters from Texas positioned themselves on a hill above the trenches, whittling down the Philippine rearguard with calculated volleys. Nonetheless, the Filipinos held their ground, employing concentrated volley fire that repulsed further American attacks. 3 American soldiers raced to the battlefield while the flanking operation was still in action, but were met with Filipino fire. 2 perished, making them the only American killed in the confrontation, while a third was severely injured as a result. March dispatched parts of their troops, led by an Igorot peasant called Januario Gallo, to ascertain the Filipino position and outflank the defenders. More than 5 hours into the conflict, the Americans began to feel the sweltering heat of the noon sun and decided to take a break among the rocks. Later that day, the search team was successful in their mission, and the American attacked the outnumbered defenders from behind, defending them. 52 of the 60 Filipinos were slain during the battle. General Del Pilar was among the dead, shot through the neck during the height of the conflict, depending on whether the eyewitness version is to be trusted.
In recognition of Del Pilar's failure, the Philippine Military Academy was renamed Fort Del Pilar, and the historical plaque was erected at the combat site. The Battle of Tirad Pass and the death of Del Pilar were also memorialized during World War II, when President Jose P. Laurel's Japanese-backed administration tried to rekindle anti-American feeling by resurrecting memories of the Philippine-American War with the establishment of the Tirad Pass Medal. The obverse of the medal was designed with a bust of Del Pilar and the picture of Tirad Pass. The reverse design includes the year 1944 during the Japanese occupation. The Tirad Pass Medal was the sole military medal or award granted by the Laurel administration. The village where the fight took place, renamed Gregorio del Pilar, Ilocos Sur in 1955.
Battle of Tirad. The year was 1899, and the Americans were in pursuit of Aguinaldo on his trail northward. If Aguinaldo were to be captured, it would signal the end of Philippine resistance. In a desperate attempt to slow the Americans, Boy General Gregorio del Pilar proposed to Aguinaldo to be left with 60 men at a notable strategic point. Pasong Tirad or Tirad Pass in Ilocos Sur has a 4,500-foot peak and a narrow trail up, making it the tactical choice for the Filipino defenders. It was December 2 when Major Peyton March led his army of 300 toward Tirad Pass. And the battle had begun. Filipino gunmen volleyed bullets toward the ambush of 300. The obvious advantage of the Filipinos had Major March's fleet looked for another way up Tirad Pass. Native Igorot and Christian Januario Galot helped the Americans by guiding them to a secret path up Tirad Pass. This way, Major March successfully retaliated with a surprise attack. General Gregorio del Pilar and his men could not defend themselves and were quickly defeated. The boy general was shot in the leg and died at the age of 24.